Okay, get ready. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into the world of Enneagram Type 3s.
Uh-huh.
Those achievers
Yeah.
and how they approach relationships.
Right.
I mean, you know them for always like going after their goals.
Yeah.
But how does that translate into love and friendships and family?
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
Yeah, it's interesting. We always associate type 3s with like career success,
Right.
but that desire for achievement, it really touches everything in their lives. Like
Yeah.
relationships too. It's
Okay.
like this internal drive that they have to be the best.
To be the best.
Yeah, it spills over into everything.
Okay, so it's not just about like getting to the top at work.
Right.
It's about being the best partner, best friend.
Exactly.
The most supportive friend, the best parent.
Uh-huh, like the most accomplished parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that has its pros and cons.
Right.
You have someone who's really driven.
Yeah.
They always want to create this awesome life for themselves and everyone they love. But at the same time, that need to achieve can make it hard
Right.
to slow down,
To be present.
Be present,
Yeah.
connect emotionally.
It's like they're so busy conquering the world that they forget to just enjoy being with the people they love.
Totally. And that's where we start to see challenges,
Okay.
especially when it comes to compatibility.
Okay. Compatibility of type 3s.
Yeah, and personality NFT actually says that type 3s are most compatible
Uh-huh.
with other type 3s,
Really?
which kind of makes sense.
Yeah, they get each other.
Yeah, they speak the same language, that achievement language.
Totally.
But you have to think, is that all there is?
Well, I was just thinking like a relationship with two type 3s.
Yeah.
It just seems like it'd be this constant competition.
Yeah.
Like a race to the finish line,
Exactly.
Who's going to stop and smell the roses?
That's the big question, right? It all comes down to balance.
Mm.
Two type 3s can definitely make it work,
Okay.
but they have to put in the effort.
Yeah.
They need to make space to be vulnerable
Okay.
for those quiet moments where they can just connect and enjoy each other
Yeah.
without focusing on who achieved more.
So they almost have to work harder at that emotional intimacy.
Right.
Because their instinct is to focus on accomplishments.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Now, when you look beyond like the type 3 and type 3 dynamic,
Yeah.
things get really interesting.
Okay.
So personality NFT says that they can also have really good relationships with type 9s,
Oh, type 9s?
the peacemakers. So imagine the calm of a type 9
Yeah.
meeting that like fiery ambition of the type 3.
Yeah.
It could be a really good balance.
Yeah, it's like yin and yang.
Yeah.
The type 9 is the stability.
Mhm.
And then the type 3 brings the excitement and drive.
Uh-huh.
I can see that.
Right. And then we have type 2s,
Okay.
the givers.
Yeah. The giver.
They're all about like showering people with love and support.
Uh-huh.
And that really speaks to a type 3's need for validation. Yeah. It's a dynamic that can be really good for both,
Mm-hmm.
as long as, they're mindful of each other's needs.
So the type 2 needs to feel like they're really appreciated for their giving,
Yeah.
not just seen as like someone who feeds the type 3's ego.
Right. It's all about finding that balance.
Not balance.
Yeah. And speaking of balance, or the lack of it, let's talk about some challenges.
Okay.
We often see some clashes
Yeah.
when a type 3 gets together with a type 4,
Oh, the individualist.
the individualist.
Oh, yeah, that sounds tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, because type 4s are all about authenticity,
Right.
Emotional depth.
Yeah.
And type 3s can sometimes, prioritize image and success
Yeah.
over being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're speaking different love languages.
That's such a good analogy.
Yeah.
The type 4 wants those deep conversations,
Yeah.
while the type 3 might just talk about their latest achievement.
Right, right.
It's not that they don't care.
Yeah.
It's just their way of showing love. It's different.
So it's not impossible,
Right.
but they have to be willing to understand each other
Yeah.
and communicate.
And adapt.
Right, and adapt to those differences.
Exactly. Any two types can make a relationship work,
Yeah.
but it takes effort, communication, and a lot of empathy.
Okay, so we've got these compatibility insights,
Yeah.
but what's it actually like
Yeah.
being in a relationship with a type 3?
Right.
What have you observed?
Well, one of the first things you'll notice is their communication style.
Okay.
It can be very achievement-oriented.
Achievement-oriented. Okay,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
It's not that they're bragging.
Yeah.
It's just that their accomplishments are such a big part of who they are.
Right.
So even when they try to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
it comes out like they're listing their resume.
Oh, okay, so instead of saying like, I'm feeling insecure about this new project,
Yeah,
they might say something like, I'm going to nail this presentation and land the client.
exactly. And that can be frustrating for their partner.
If they're not used to it.
If they're not on the same page,
Yeah.
it can feel like they're not really opening up, you know?
Not sharing their true feelings.
Yeah.
It's like they're speaking a totally different emotional language, one that's all about actions and getting things done.
Yeah.
But I guess once you get that about them,
Yeah.
you can start to understand what they really mean.
Exactly. It's all about perspective. Once you see things from their side,
Yeah.
you can see how much they love and care.
Yeah.
Even if they don't always say it.
So it's not about trying to change them.
Right.
It's about getting their language and finding ways to communicate.
Exactly. And speaking of communication,
Okay.
another thing about type 3s in relationships, they can be so loyal and protective of the people they love.
Oh, interesting.
It's like their ambition extends to making a safe and successful life for their loved ones.
So it's not just about their own success.
Right.
It's about everyone they care about, too.
Exactly. They want to see everyone around them thrive. And they'll go above and beyond to support their goals.
That's nice.
There's always a but.
There's always a but.
What is it?
Sometimes their desire to help
Yeah.
can backfire a little.
Okay. So
let's say you're dating a type 3.
Okay.
And you're feeling a little lost in your career. You're thinking about making a change.
Yeah.
But you're not sure which way to go.
Okay.
Your type 3 partner might just jump in.
Yeah.
Start offering advice, connections, job leads.
Okay.
But all that help can feel overwhelming.
Overwhelming, yeah.
Like they're trying to solve your problem instead of just listening.
Right, being there for you.
Yeah, it's that type 3 thing where they just have to take charge.
They jump into action.
They jump into action.
Yeah.
And even though it comes from a good place,
Right.
it can create some distance. So how can a type 3 learn to just be there without trying to fix everything?
It comes back to communication.
Okay.
Making sure both partners feel heard.
Yeah.
The type 3 needs to learn to just listen without offering solutions right away.
Go.
And their partner needs to be upfront about their needs.
Like they need to say, hey, I just need you to listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Not fix it.
It's like learning to dance together.
I like that.
Finding a rhythm that works for both of you.
Okay, let's talk about friendships.
Okay.
What kind of friends do type 3s like?
Well, based on their romantic relationships, I'd say they like ambitious friends.
Ambitious, okay.
People who will support their goals, celebrate their wins, and challenge them to grow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You'll often find them with a group of high achievers.
Okay.
People who inspire them to be their best.
It's like that saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Type 3s want to be around people who lift them up.
Yeah, who push them.
Yeah.
But just like in romantic relationships, there can be challenges.
Oh, what kind of challenges?
That competitive side of a type 3
Yeah.
can cause some tension.
Tension, yeah.
Especially if they're not careful.
I could see that, like, if 2 type 3 friends are both going for the same promotion,
Exactly.
that could get messy
Yeah, it could turn into a rivalry.
instead of a supportive friendship.
Right, so that's where self-awareness is important.
Oh.
For a type 3 to have good friendships,
Yeah.
they have to be aware of that competitive streak.
Yeah.
And make sure it doesn't get in the way.
Of the friendship.
The friendship, yeah.
So it's about remembering that friendship isn't a competition.
Right.
It's about being there for each other.
Exactly. And speaking of being there,
Okay.
let's talk about family.
Okay, family?
How does a type 3's drive play out as a parent?
I'd imagine they're super involved in their kids' lives, encouraging them to do well in school and everything.
You got it.
Okay.
Type 3 parents are really invested in their kids' success, and they want to give them every opportunity.
That's good.
But again, there's a potential downside.
Okay, what is it?
Their high expectations can put a lot of pressure on their kids.
That's true, yeah.
It's like their love depends on how well their kids perform.
So the child has to be exceptional to get their parents' love.
That's the danger.
Wow.
It's something type 3 parents really need to watch out for.
So they need to make sure they're supporting the whole child.
Right.
Not just their achievements.
Exactly. They need to celebrate their kids' unique talents.
Yeah.
Even if those talents don't fit their idea of success.
Right. So it's a balance between supporting their ambitions and letting them find their own way.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about communication styles. You said it's like they speak a different emotional language.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little more?
Sure. What I meant was type 3s often show their feelings through actions instead of words.
Actions. Okay.
So like instead of saying, I love you, They might plan a romantic trip.
Oh, okay.
Or buy a thoughtful gift.
Right. So their actions are their love language.
Exactly.
But that can cause misunderstandings.
Yeah, if their partner doesn't get it.
If they're not used to that way of communicating, someone who's more expressive with words might think their partner isn't being deep enough.
Right.
Or vulnerable enough.
So it's all about learning how to read each other.
Yeah.
And appreciating the different ways we show love.
Exactly. And that's a good lesson for any relationship.
Any relationship.
Yeah, no matter your Enneagram type.
So as we dig deeper into type 3 relationships, I want to talk about wings and subtypes.
Okay.
How do those affect a type 3's relationships?
That's a great question. And that's where things get even more interesting.
More interesting. Okay. And unique. For those who don't know.
Yeah.
Can you explain what wings and subtypes are?
Sure. Think of your core Enneagram type, like the main ingredient in a dish.
Okay.
The wings and subtypes are the spices
I like that.
that add flavor.
So how do wings affect a type 3 in relationships?
Well, a type 3 with a 2-wing,
okay,
they're sometimes called the charmer.
The charmer, okay.
They might be even more focused on pleasing others.
Oh, okay.
They can be super warm and generous partners.
Yeah.
But they need to be careful not to lose themselves.
They lose themselves.
Yeah, in that desire to please everyone.
It's that type 2 energy.
Yeah.
Wanting to be loved and appreciated.
Exactly.
Okay, what about the other wing?
So a type 3 with a 4-wing.
Okay.
They're called the professional.
The professional.
They're usually more introspective and sensitive.
And then the 2-wing.
And then the 2-wing, yeah.
Okay.
They might be drawn to creative things.
Okay. And need more self-expression.
Interesting.
In their relationships.
So they bring a bit of that type 4 intensity to the type 3 ambition.
Exactly. And that can be a really cool mix.
Yeah.
But it also means they might struggle with self-doubt more than the 2-wing.
So they're trying to find that balance between achieving their goals and feeling good in their relationships.
Exactly. And then we have subtypes.
Okay, subtype.
Which add another layer.
Another layer.
So, for example, a self-preservation type 3.
Okay.
They might be really focused on security and stability in their relationships, maybe even at the expense of emotional intimacy.
Oh, so they might prioritize, like, financial security.
Yeah.
Over spending quality time with their partner.
Exactly. Now, compare that to a social type 3.
Okay.
They care more about image and status.
Image and status.
Yeah, they might be drawn to partners who can help them climb the social ladder.
So their relationships are part of their image. Yeah, like an extension of their brain.
Okay, what about the other subtype?
The sexual type 3.
Okay.
They bring a lot of intensity.
Intensity, okay.
They want deep, passionate connections.
Okay.
And they're very expressive with their love.
So they're all about that spark?
Yeah, that chemistry.
But that could be a lot for some people.
Yeah, it can be challenging.
If their partner isn't ready for that.
Right, they need someone who can handle that intensity.
That passion.
Exactly. So you see wings and subtypes make type 3s even more complex.
They add a lot of nuance.
They add a lot of nuance.
To how they are in relationships.
Exactly.
It's like we're peeling back the layers of an onion with all these different aspects of the type 3 personality.
And speaking of all these layers, I'm curious about growth.
Growth, okay.
What does it look like for a type 3 to really evolve in their relationships?
To go beyond those surface level patterns.
Yeah, to connect on a deeper level.
That's the big question, right? So what does it look like?
Well, it's different for everyone, but there are some common things we see.
Like what?
One of the biggest things for a type 3 is learning to let go of needing validation from others.
Okay.
And finding their worth within themselves.
So instead of needing others to tell them they're good enough, they need to believe it themselves.
Exactly. They have to realize that their value doesn't come from their achievements.
Or their image.
Or their image,
It comes from who they are.
Exactly.
That's a big shift.
It is. It's a huge shift.
For a type 3.
Because they're so used to defining themselves by what they do.
Right, their accomplishments.
Yeah, it's like they have to unlearn everything they thought they knew.
And see themselves in a new way.
And that's when things get really interesting.
What do you mean?
Because when a type 3 starts to be their true self, their relationships change too.
In what way?
Well, they might stop trying so hard to impress their partner.
Okay.
And just focus on being with them.
Being present.
Being present, yeah.
Okay.
They might let themselves be more vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, share their fears. Without feeling like they need to pretend to be perfect.
So they're letting go of that need to control everything and just be themselves.
Exactly. And that can be really powerful.
Yeah.
Because it creates space for real connection.
Real intimacy.
Real intimacy, yeah.
It's like they're finally letting their partner see their heart.
Beautifully.
Not just their achievements.
And that's where true growth happens.
For the person and the relationship.
Exactly.
Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah.
What's the most important thing for our listeners to understand?
About type 3s in relationships.
Yeah.
The most important thing is that underneath all that ambition, there's a heart that wants love and connection.
Just like everyone else.
Just like everyone else.
Oh.
So we have to look past the achievements, the success, and see the person.
Exactly. And when we can do that,
we can have more compassion, more understanding, more love in all our relationships.
Like we're saying, we see your drive, but we love you for you.
Yeah, not just for what you achieve.
Right, exactly.
And that acceptance can be really powerful for a type 3.
Okay.
It lets them relax.
Yeah.
Let go of the pressure.
To be perfect.
To be perfect, yeah.
And just be themselves.
And that's where real connection can happen.
Yeah, and that authenticity.
Absolutely. And, we've talked a lot about the challenges of being with a type 3.
Yeah, the challenges.
But let's not forget the good stuff.
Yes, the good stuff. What are some of the great things about type 3s?
Okay, so first of all, their enthusiasm.
Yeah, they're very enthusiastic.
It's contagious, and they're so optimistic.
They always see the best in everything.
Yeah, and they make you want to dream big.
Yeah, they inspire you.
Yeah, like anything is possible.
It's like they bring this sense of possibility.
Yeah, exactly.
To every relationship.
And if you're someone who doubts yourself, being around a type 3 can really help.
Yeah, you start to see your own potential.
Right. They're like, look what you can do.
I like that.
And they don't just cheer from the sidelines.
Bro.
They're in there with you.
Helping you out.
Making it happen.
So it's not just talk.
Right.
It's action, too.
It's that combination that makes them so powerful.
In any relationship, really.
Yeah, personal or professional.
They're natural leaders.
Yeah.
Motivating.
Bring people together
Yeah.
to achieve something great.
So that ambition.
Yeah.
That can sometimes be a problem.
Right.
Can also be a really good thing.
Exactly, when it's channeled the right way.
It's all about that balance.
It always comes back to balance.
Right, finding that sweet spot.
Where their drive works for them.
And for the people around them.
Exactly.
And that takes self-awareness and effort.
And being willing to look at those messy parts of yourself.
So to wrap up our deep dive into type 3s, I want to leave our listeners with this.
Okay.
Whether you're type 3 or, 1, remember that the Enneagram is a tool to help us understand each other.
Not to judge.
But to judge, right?
It's about seeing the beauty in all the different ways people are.
How we connect.
Yeah, how we connect.
It's about accepting those differences, celebrating our strengths.
Yeah, supporting each other.
Yeah, on this journey.
Beautifully said.
So on that note, I think it's time to wrap up.
It has been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great exploring type 3s with you.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep and keep growing.